people? I'm coming at you with a review about the Asus 970 Pro Gaming Aura. We're going to be talking about a few things today. Things I like about the motherboard, things I dislike about the motherboard, things that are great, and things I plain just don't understand. Alright, we'll start with one that concerns me about future upgrades that I want to do. And this right here. M.2 only supports data storage. Like, what does that mean? Like, I don't understand what that means. Like, can I use that for my OS? Like I can't store my OS or my, my operating system on it? I can't store that on there? Like, I don't understand. Isn't that the whole point of freaking M.2 is it stores your operating system and you use your operating system off of it? Like, I don't understand that. That's a bit of a thing that concerns me about upgrading to M.2 because I was thinking about doing that. I was looking at this Kingston HyperX M.2 drive that I was like, man, it's black. Oh shit, I'll put that on my motherboard. It'll look awesome and it'll be fast as hell. But anyway, so that's a bit of a thing I'm worried about. Like, can you use that for your operating system? I don't know. But things that I like about it. Things that I like about this motherboard. One, it's a great overclocker. I seen a guy get his 8370 to 8 gigahertz on his board. Granted that he had to use liquid nitrogen to keep it cool, and 8 gigahertz is just not a real overclock that you should ever consider using ever or trying to get. That's just a benchmarking thing. I think the highest you should ever shoot for is 5 gigahertz. That's max. Don't ever try to go over that. But anyway, I got my FX6300 to 4.7. I could probably get 5 gigahertz out of it. But anyway, the reason I actually backed it down from 4.7 to 4.6 because of the heat. Because my temperatures would go to like 70 C at 4.7. And when I'm at 4.6, my heat stays at around 60 Celsius under full load. Sometimes it'll like randomly jump to like 65 at the most. So 60 Celsius on my Hyper 212 Evo is about the best I could get out of it without having concern about heat. So I could probably get 5 gigahertz out of it if I had an all-in-one water cooler, or any water cooler for that fact, on this motherboard. Now, things that I like and dislike about this motherboard. One of the other things, the second thing that I like about it, red. Red accents on the board. I like that. The Supreme FX Lighting chip right there. That's one of those things that kind of makes me angry, but doesn't really bother me, but I can see why that would make somebody angry. One, that light right there, the light on the Supreme FX audio chip, that light is default static red. You cannot change that light. You can turn it off in the BIOS, but I don't see why you would do that, because the theme of this motherboard is red. The heat sinks on it are red and have red accents, like the SB950 chipset. The heatsink on that is red. The VRM heatsink is red. Some of the traces on the motherboard are red. The overall theme of this motherboard is red. So that's a little bit thing that kind of clashes with the fact that it's RGB. So I don't see why you would not have the RGB lighting on it red. And plus, this light right here, right there above my finger, right there, that light, I don't know what that light is, but it's always red and it's always on. You can't turn that light off, but you can turn that, as you may know, the RGB lighting off. You can turn that off or whatever if you don't want that on, and it would probably go with your build. But yeah, I couldn't recommend this board if you were going for a certain color thing that was not red. And yeah, it's a great motherboard overall. But things that I don't like about it. One, the accenting color is red. Even though red is my favorite color and that's the theme of my build, the accenting color of my build is red with the white case. That I like that. And yeah, I can see how people could hate that. Like, why would you make that red? The heat sinks and all that stuff should be, like a bland color that goes with everything, like black. And yeah, those lights, you can't change them. Like that one right there, the Supreme FX, can't change that. That light right there, that's always on. I don't know what that is. Can't change that. That's always red. So this motherboard is tiered to a red build. It's tailored to a red build thing. And things some people might ask about my build right now. Well, you might ask, well, why, dude, your Hyper 212 EVO, I've never seen one that was that color before. Yeah, that's because my Hyper 212 EVO is custom vinyl wrapped. I custom vinyl wrapped it with a carbon vinyl wrap, and it looks great. It makes it look 100 times better. And plus, I didn't like the silver chrome look of it. I hated that, and it kind of mushed with the color theme of my build. And plus, having it black makes it look 100 times better. Here, I'll take the side panel off. Here, unscrew that. Take this off. See in there. Yeah, it's carbon fiber. Like, I think I might have to rewrap it soon because it kind of warped because of the heat in there. Might have to rewrap it and wrap it tighter. Which I kind of have. There's some kind of defects on it a little bit. But since we're here, we'll do a little orientation of my build a little bit, little run through. Yeah, I got my two Corsair SP static pressure fans right there. Got some good airflow, and then the two exhaust fans that come with the case. I'm probably not gonna change those because those fans don't really matter anyways. I mean, in the sense of like aesthetics. I mean, I might change them one day, but I'm just not worried about it right now because I like the the black and the dark red with the white. I like how that looks. And my airflow in this case is great, and I got the Hyper 212 EVO air oriented down, so it pulls the heat off the back of the card and shoots it up through the exhaust fan on the top right there. And I'm sorry, I'm going off on a tangent right there, but anyway, if you were to have a build in here with a Hyper 212 EVO, I recommend you have have the fan oriented down, because that fan is like right above the Hyper 212 EVO, and it'll take the heat off the back of the card. So there's that. There's a good little suggestion there. But things that you should have or should get off the support site. I'm sorry, I gotta stand up. My foot's going numb. But anyway, things that I love about it. Another thing, fan control. Any fans that you have hooked up to the fan, which all the fan headers on this board are 4-pin, so you don't have to worry if you have 4-pin fans. All the fan headers support PWM fans, 4-pin fans, so you don't have to worry about that if you have a 3-pin fan or a 4-pin fan. What am I saying? But yeah, I got it set to silent. There's I go through the modes that you have right here with this app that I suggest you should download from the support site, as well as latest drivers. The Dual Intelligent Processor 4 app. You should get that along with the RGB. Oh, that's another thing I should talk to you about, the RGB. The RGB lighting in the SB950. The RGB lighting on the SB950 chipset those lights on the chipset default to color cycling every time you turn the system off. So if you're one of those persons that don't like to put their system in sleep mode, those lights will turn back on if you turn the system completely off. So you will have to change those lights back to whatever you set it or whatever every time you turn your system back on. But when you put the system into sleep, the lights don't default back. It's only when you turn the system fully off. And another thing I like about the RGB lighting and the accented lighting on the Supreme FX chipset and the lighting on the RGB lighting on the SB950 chipset right there is that those lights stay on no matter what, even when you turn the system off. That might be a con for somebody that don't like lights in their system when they have it turned off. It'll turn off if you turn off the power supply, but I like having those, always having accented lighting inside my system, so I can, sometimes when I walk by, I can just look in there and be like, it's fucking awesome. But anyway, yeah, there's that. So those lights always turn on. But let's get back to these apps that you should download. Of course, you should download the app for the Aura lighting control. There's that. If you wanted to see the some of the light changes, I'll show you. There's pink or whatever, and I don't have to show you that the lights change. It's RGB, you know it changes. But yeah, this app, this dual intelligent processor app, you can overclock your CPU through the without going all the way into BIOS. So I think that's actually kind of cool. I haven't tested that yet because by the time I downloaded that app, I already overclocked my CPU through the BIOS, so there was no point of me tinkering with my CPU through the Windows with this app to see if it overclocks it right or whatever. But I'll probably do that later and make a post on this video for you to see that. As long as I will also put a link in the description showing that this guy had his benchmarks for his overclocking and stuff. These guys were comparing benchmarks for their overclocks, so you can see other people's performance on the board. But yeah, this app you should get that, as well as the control for your fans that you have hooked up to the board. I'll go through some of the settings right here for the fans. There's silent, and then there's standard, and then there's performance. Sometimes I set, when I'm playing a heavy game, like if I'm playing The Witcher 3, I'll set it to performance. You do not need to set your fans to full blast. I mean, you could, unless you're gonna get a loud sound of your fans ramped up all the way. But when you set it to performance, it set the speed of the fans about pretty good. You see how it's set to performance and it's quieter and whatever. The fans are still at a reasonable speed when you set them to performance, if you're worried about that. And then there's standard. Standard is just like a step above silent, but I like it having that silent because it's more, well, silent. Really no difference between silent and standard and performance. I think the sound of these settings will depend on the RPM of your fans. So I think it would really go is low, then medium, then high, and then really high. I think that's how it kind of measures if you had to put it in simpler terms instead of standard, silent, standard, and performance, and then full speed. So if I had to rate it, silent would be low, standard would be medium, performance would be high, and then full speed would be super high, the max speed of your fans, which it indicates for its full speed. But yeah, that's it for this video, and I'm out. Peace.